641-9444. The Floor Store. They got you covered.
Hey, travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
855-325-1820. 855-325-1820. That's 855-325-1820.
Out of deck carpet giving you the blues? Tired of old, dingy, and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleveland, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleveland, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they got you covered.
You're listening to JoCo Community Radio.
Well, good morning, Jobfather Nation. We are excited to be here. We've got a great show today. But first, keep in mind, JoCo Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and is live 365 on the TuneIn Radio Network. To listen or watch, just simply go to tuneinjoco.com to choose where and how. The JoCo Community Radio app is now available for free on Android and iOS devices. Simply search the store. Check out our lineup and more at jococommunityradio.com. This episode and more brought to you by Patriot Claims, making your insurance work for you. Well, Jobfather Nation, we're excited to be here yet another blessed Friday. We've got a great show today with some incredible content. But before we jump into the show, let's bow our head for a quick word of prayer. Father God, we're honored to be here. We're honored to serve you, and we're honored to help the job seeker community guide us and help us to provide wisdom and valuable insight. Please bless the job seeker community to help us to find that next home quickly. And may you get all the glory. In your name we pray, Jesus. Amen. Well, good morning, Pastor.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Can hear ya.
Good. Good morning, everybody. And I want to say good morning to our Maz behind the scenes there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maz, for hooking us up with stuff like you do, guys. Maz is our hype lady, what we like to coin as our hype lady. And she tells you guys about what's going on in the show. She represents the show a number of places across the United States. And Mez is probably the reason that we have as many listeners as we do. So I want to, you listeners, guys, if you have a question, please, especially you guys that are on the YouTube and watching us, please check in. Please comment like Jason Hopper just did on the chat. So Jason Hopper is one of our team members, guys. We have a number of people in this network that what we do is serve the people that are looking for a job.
Yeah.
And is with JFS Dallas. Let me tell you what that JFS stands for. It stands for Jewish Family Services. Now, you don't have to be Jewish. You can get help at jfsdallas.org. Allison and Jason are probably the key people over there that I know. And I think you guys ought to connect with Jason Hopper. He is a coach over at JFS. You guys will be surprised how many things that are available for you guys at JFS. Things you probably didn't even think about if you're a job seeker.
Oh, yeah.
But check it out, jfsdallas.org, guys. Okay. Now, we've got a few landers. So before we go to my buddy VZ there, Vin Zeeland, I want to talk about our job landers, folks that have landed a job. And getting back to Vin, I appreciate you being with us, Vin. Vin's the culture strategist.
Love it.
Vin is we're going to be talking all this whole show today. We're going to be talking about what we need to find out before we go to work at certain companies. And we're going to strategize what their culture is and figure out whether we like their culture.
So important. It really is.
Yeah. Dana actually is doing that right now. So,
yes.
So let me go, guys, and let me flip screens here and let's talk about the folks that have landed. So at the first landing, our very own Mindy Hunt has landed, and Mindy, she started a position. And Mindy, you're probably listening, so if you are, just chime into the chat. She started a new position. She's an administrative coordinator at Assured Partners.
Excuse me.
And bless you, man.
Thanks.
And it's pretty cool. So congratulations, Mindy Hunt. It didn't take her very long. Maybe she might have been in the job search for maybe a couple of months. Mindy, if you're listening, correct me. But I think it only took you a couple of months. But guys, this network is where you need to be. Vin and I are going to be talking about that today, and some things that we can do to network our way in to talk to the people that we need to talk to get these jobs and find out about the company and all that stuff. Mainly finding out about what the company's about. So Miranda Gell, I'm hoping that I'm saying that right, Gell. And she started a position. She's a talent acquisition business partner. We like that. Dana and I love when we have people in talent acquisitions because, hey, we're kindred spirits.
That's right.
These people are responsible for doing the hiring at these companies that they land at. So Miranda Gale is going to be one of our people, and she is at Alpha Testing. So you guys might want to look up Alpha Testing, and Miranda's new there, and she is off and running. So one more, our Italian friend Paola Arellano she's with Omni Barton Creek Resort and Spa. She's a marketing manager for the Omni Barton Creek Resort and Spa. So, hey, if you guys are thinking about, if you just got laid off and you just say, okay, I'm going to take me a break, I'm going to take the family on vacation, during this time of year is usually when a lot of people like to go on vacation for obvious reasons. During this time of year, you might want to check out Omni Barton Creek Resort and Spa. Omni Barton Creek, guys. And Paola, which is Paula in American, is over there, and she is the marketing manager. So you guys will probably see a lot of stuff that Paula will put together, letting us know about what's going on in the Omni Barton Creek. Okay, Dana, I think that is our landings today. And
exciting. Great news. Things are moving out there for the listeners. Lots of new positions are coming in. Things are moving. People are landing. Don't let the news overwhelm you.
That's right.
There is a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, there it is. It's still moving forward. It really is. And in the summer, guys, come on now. It's summer, no time to go on vacation because gas prices go up all of a sudden, right?
Obviously, that was on your mind, Foster.
it always is. You know how I am. And I'm not sure to tell
that was funny. I was like, where did that come from? Squirrel.
I'm the best squirrel person there is. Vin,
I don't know. I might have to compete with you on that one. I think
Vin had me on his show.
We're kindred squirrels.
Squirrels. Dana and I are good squirrelers. And so anyway, you gas companies, we're looking, we see what's going on. So stop it.
We see you. So stop it.
Stop it. Okay, guys, I want to introduce my buddy Vin Zeeland. Now, you guys might want to check him out on LinkedIn, connect with him. He is a guy that helps us figure out. We're going to be talking about this today. He's the guy that helps us figure out what we're getting ourselves into. Now, I'm not trying to take a negative tone, guys, but
No, no, no.
2023 is different from pre-COVID,
Oh, it
around
is for sure.
2016, 2017, the job market looked differently. And now we've got new things to consider. We want to find out we had an upset in the way that we do things in our processes. Dana and I are recruiters, so hey, a lot of things were changed, a lot of considerations we didn't even have to worry about before, but we do
Yeah.
now. So guys, let's talk with Vin. I want to start this conversation off. This is going to be a good one. I love talking to Vin. But guys, when we are in the interview process, I strongly suggest that we ask the hiring manager, whoever it is that we are interviewing with, is this a new job due to growth, or was there someone in this job previous? And then according to the Dana, what's my word?
Relationship.
That's what I'm talking about. According to the relationship that you have built with the recruiter or whoever it is that you're talking to about that job. Sometimes, guys, we're talking to people that we have a good connection with, and we want that because we can ask questions as to why maybe the job is open, and some key things that we might want to know on the inside as we go inside. Everybody's got their best dating face on, when you're
Yeah.
interviewing. The
Yeah,
company
for
is
sure.
going to tell you they're the best thing in the world, but we all know people are involved in corporate America and there's stuff going on. So
Yeah.
if that stuff has something to do with us and that job, then you know what? We want to have that kind of relationship where we can ask and find out really, really what we're digging ourselves into. Vin, what do you think about that kind of thing?
Oh, I'm all about relationships. I'm all
I
about
know.
I'm all
Mhm.
about the courting, right? So we go in and we get courted. They start to find out about us, but the biggest mistake is that we are also interviewing the company.
That's right.
We,
Hey,
you
hey,
know,
yeah.
we are interviewing them to learn about what are they about? Do they value what I value? um, we should value each other's values, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that sounds so intuitive, but it's not. People think, oh my gosh, I'm on the hot seat and I've got to be, uh, I've got to be, looking good and I got to smell good and I got to sound good. But so do they,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So true. Yes.
Right.
It's a mutual connection we're trying to make, right?
Sure,
That's right.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's right.
And the company's just trying to, find talent, right? But what we have to understand is that we bring the talent, and we want to make sure that our talent is valued. And here's the reality: we need to be trusted. They need to be trusted, right?
Hmm.
I there's a great coach out there. Her name is Brandy Shade. She turned me onto a book
Hey, Brandy, she's
called
probably watching. Yeah.
yeah, it could be, but she turned me onto a book called The Speed of Trust.
Oh,
Oh,
Um, oh yeah, great book.
oh,
You
Mez, will
know,
you put that up for us?
yeah,
the
The Speed of
speed of
Trust.
trust.
The Speed of
Wow.
Trust. Mm-hmm.
The way I
Yeah,
operate, I already like the topic of that.
Oh, thanks,
yeah,
Mez. We love you.
yeah. Brandy is awesome. So hey, Brandy, hope
Hey,
you're out there.
Brandy.
Hey, Brandy. Brandy, chime into the chat. You got your Foster and your Zen on or Vin on the show.
Then Mez said she was going to put the name of the book for Brandy up on the screen. So,
Okay, cool,
yeah.
cool. Yeah. So the speed of trust, really just grabbed my attention. And one line that just really grabbed me, he said, when trust is built and it's a good kind of, trust, right? The cost is low. The cost to run a company is low when trust is high. But when trust is low, it costs a whole lot more. Think of corporate, shenanigans, if you will.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of those.
You know, the
$1 for
corruption, and so then all the costs because of regulations, regulatory, um, all that stuff starts to add cost, and then who does that get passed on to? Because somebody blew it, and all these regulations and investigations were done. Now it gets passed on to the consumer, right?
Mhm.
And then they start bringing in talent at a lower cost, at a lower price pay. I just had a talk with an HR director, and we were talking about a manager that had just left, and he said, "Yeah, well, he's no longer with the company." But he said to me, he goes, "Man, um, that manager was underpaid and undervalued."
Oh wow.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
It does, and
it,
it's sad.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It happens
I've
often.
got a thing I want to throw out there. I just thought about this because I asked this question in an interview one time, and I want Dana's opinion of this because she may have just done it herself. But each and every company, guys, when you look them up online, and it may when you walk into the office, you might see the company motto on the wall. A lot of times online, they will have what would be the
Mission or
value
vision.
statement, the mission or vision, or the value statement of that company. And what I like to do is ask about that in an interview. Okay, I saw that the company's vision value statement is this. What has been, Mr. Hiring Manager? What could you tell me about that has been true in your time that you've been here?
Yeah.
I am not ashamed, guys. And of course, I build relationships along the way. So people know that I am trying to do the best I can to find out what's going on and what I'm getting myself into, because all I have is my reputation, especially, guys, as a recruiter. And with me and Dana, we're both executives in the recruiting space, in the talent acquisition space. We're going to be the leaders when we go in. It's going to be important that we have our teams exercise these company values. That's what I'm thinking. So I want to know what the company is doing about that kind of thing. So Dana, what's your thoughts on that kind of thing? Because right now we are looking for Dana's next best spot that God has for her.
Yes. It's very important to have an understanding. As Vin was saying, culture is a very important thing. So not only having an understanding before you go into the interview on what their mission, their vision, and their value statements are, but also looking to see what they're doing. So, for example, and then if appropriate, asking in the interview. It's
Right.
definitely an
Yeah.
appropriate
Yeah.
question.
You got to make sure it's appropriate.
But it is. I mean, it is. We want to know. But let me frame why I said that. I saw very clearly in the interview that I just partook in, and it was a phenomenal company, a company I would love to work with, and hope that I'm going that way. But we'll see what God has. Not only did they bring up that their mission and vision was, the care and improvement of human life, but then when I read further into the website, I saw that they had over 300 charitable organizations that they partner with. They
Oh,
announced how much
wow.
money they spent on it. And
Really?
then what was
Wow.
great is in the very beginning, as I started interviewing the team that were, like executive leaders, they actively brought it up and talked about what kind of events they were going to, and how they volunteer. So for me, I didn't have to really ask a lot about it because all of the dots were connected, right? Not only did they say what it was, they expanded on it, and the people talked about it on their own volition in the interview. And for me,
Oh,
that was
okay.
a great, well, I guess you would call it green flag, right? That was
Yeah,
great.
that's green.
Like,
I like
okay.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And so
Yeah.
I knew that this would be an organization, at least from what I know at this point, that I would
Mm-hmm.
be interested in partnering with. But I have
Mm-hmm.
a really, Ben, I would like to know a little bit more about how you got into the culture space, and a little
Yeah.
bit more about, maybe some of your tips for job seekers as they're getting into the phase of interviews where they're in person or via WebEx or Teams, where they can discuss a little bit about
Yeah.
um, their values and align their, what's important to them. Like, how did you get into this space? First of all, give us a little background of this.
Yeah.
And then let's start with some advice that you would give some of our listeners.
Okay. Well, I'm very careful about being the advice monster.
No, that's cool. But we need you to be a little bit of an advice
I got
monster.
you. I got you on that one, Vin. Yeah.
Right. So my career started a long time ago in the music sphere, and I'm a professional recording artist, drummer, and recorded and toured at 18 years old, and so culture was my thing, right? That's what I invested into. 9 years of my life was invested into recording and touring. But when I got out of the music industry, I still write and record, but I don't tour anymore. But when I switched gears, I went to school and got my undergraduate in theology, and I became a pastor, and I was a pastor for 20 years.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
And so
wow.
I was training and developing leaders. And so when you're training and developing leaders, well, people are difficult,
Yeah.
right? I love people, but people kind of are, they're kind of, I don't want to say what they are, because I'm a people too, right?
Yeah.
We're all people.
Right.
You're
We're all people. So I
I
can't take
think. I
myself
don't
too
know. I don't
seriously.
know about Dana.
Yeah. But
I'm an
as a
innocent
pastor,
angel on this earth. No.
as a pastor, what I discovered was that culture was a huge deal. Doing life together, life is hard.
Yeah.
Why would we make it harder? Why would we bring politics into anything, in any sphere, right?
Powerful.
Why don't we learn to actually value each other rather than, oh, hey, I disagree with that, or that's your weakness. Okay. Um, and so I spent 20 years building and developing all over the country in
Uh-huh.
Wisconsin and California and Texas, developing leaders and culture. My last role, I was brought in specifically, it was an acquisitions company in the real estate sphere, growing fast. And what ended up happening is they created a role for me, because I did my research on them ahead of time. And I was looking at all the reviews, and it turns out that their culture was awful, really awful. And I said, I can fix that. I can go in and turn that around. And I did a presentation for the president and one of the directors who interviewed me. And I said, I can do this. And this is how I'm going to do it. And I did the presentation. It was a 7-page model, and they had the buy-in. And I went in and turned around their call center in a month and a half, which they
Oh.
had. This is interesting. They had 2 directors, they had 2 managers, a corporate trainer, and a team lead, and they had 4 months. They had 4 months, and they couldn't get any movement. I went in a month and a half. So this is what I do: is I see the gaps. I'm a strategist. I created 15 initiatives and redeveloped the culture first from the ground up. Now, of that department, most of the people wanted to quit.
Yeah.
By the
Yeah.
time I
Culture's
was
not
by the
good.
time I was done, they all came back and said, "Because of you, I don't want to quit my job. I actually love what I do."
Vin, how did
Wow.
you find out that the culture? I'm not going to use that word that I'm thinking about, but how'd you find out that the culture? What did you do to find that out?
Reviews.
Whose
Yeah.
reviews?
Okay.
Where? How? All that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Glassdoor, LinkedIn. You go on Google and people leave reviews about companies all the time. I mean, I
Yeah,
go
that's
out and
true.
I go to places and I leave reviews on companies. And I'm because I'm a marketing guy. I'm
Yeah, yeah,
a strategic communications guy. I'm all about leaving reviews. If somebody took good care of me, whether it's coffee or pizza or whatever. My chiropractor loved it. I went to see my chiropractor play a concert, and I left them a review, and I took a picture and I posted it, and I had like 7,000 views on that one picture. So you can find out quick. Just a little Google research will help you find out what people really think, what's really going on.
And you know what I'm going to say. So I'm thinking about this that I'm about to say, because my good friend Joelle Fry, our wonderful Joelle Fry, is with us. And she, oh my God, Joelle's been over a year at Omni Logistics now. I like that Omni word. There's a lot of companies that have Omni something, Omni this, Omni that, but she's with Omni Logistics. And you know what? Joelle, she knew about that company, quite a bit about that company before she took that job. And that was something that Joelle and I talked about. Actually, me, Joelle, and Dana talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
And, I absolutely think it's important that we use, now here's Foster goes. We've got a network, guys. We've got the biggest network that we know anything about. Actually, I'm going to brag a little bit, so you guys bear with me. You know how I am. I'm not one of those uppity kind of people. But you know what? We have here in Dallas Fort Worth probably easily the biggest job seeker network in the United States. A lot of people are wanting to move to Texas. I understand why. And and you know what? It is hard to find a big company. You can forget it. Or most, probably 90% of the medium-sized companies have multiple people working there already that are out of the network. Just here locally, I guys, we're talking hundreds of thousands of people that are part of this network. Some have landed, some have been at the jobs for a while, like Joel. People pay it forward. We get to hear really and truly what's going on in these companies, because we have people that work there that are out of the network, and there are specific questions that we can ask them. Because Foster, no, you see this thing, it's good size, isn't it? That's a big nose, and I want to know. And you know what? I can ask a number of people what's going on, but I want to make this point, and I want to hear you and Dana talk about this. This is a Foster thing that everybody knows, but everybody don't talk about it. The best people I have found to talk about these companies are the people that used to work at that company,
Yeah.
especially if it was recently, if they just got laid off, if whatever happened. Now you would think, oh, these people are going to talk bad about the company. No, not necessarily, guys.
No.
Not necessarily. But if you
No.
build a, Dana, what's my word?
Relationship.
That's what I'm talking about right there. And so if you build a relationship, guys, and you know what I'm talking about, you know how that relationship equity is. I don't have to explain that. We can find out some things that we need to find out about that company. Now, especially if the company's motto says a certain thing, I'm going to dig in on that motto. I want to know. Inquiring minds. Okay, I'm gonna shut up. You guys comment on what I just said. I think y'all, if you want to.
Yeah. So, first of all, Joelle, I just have to say I'm very fond of that name because that's my oldest daughter. And
No, you're kidding. Hey guys,
no,
I hear music. We're going to come back, and we're going to continue this conversation after break. So you guys break with us. Don't go nowhere. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial.
We'll be right back.
Yeah.
I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or
fun
more.
interview, guys.
And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more.
800-240-4587. 800-240-4587. 800-240-4587. That's 800-240-4587.
Got a deck card giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the floor store in Cleveland, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the floor store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the floor store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleveland, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The floor store, they got you covered. Out of date carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the floor store in Cleveland, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the floor store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the floor store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleveland, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The floor store, they got you covered.
Joco Community Radio. Listen live at tunein.com.
Welcome back, Jobfather Nation, to the second half. We are excited. We have got Vin Zeeland on the second half of our show. We are going to continue talking about culture. Such an important topic. And, you know, Vin, real quick, a bunch of squirrels took over. You had mentioned you went into this organization, right? A call center. And within the call center, you know, it was a really bad situation. People were wanting to quit, and you recognized a number of initiatives. Walk us through what you did to do a little bit of that gap analysis, and maybe give us an example. We don't know the name of the company. Don't share it with us. You know, we don't want to out to anybody unless you want to. But give us a little bit of an idea of what you identified, because there's things that people can glean off of this information to help them make better decisions.
Yeah. So I was given a little bit of autonomy, some levity, because I was a leader, right, in the company.
Right.
And so I had the opportunity to take them individually and interview them, like, hey, tell me what's going on.
Okay.
How much training did you have? What are your biggest complaints? And so I use this is pretty cool. I use what's called the Q12. They're 12 questions by Gallup that have been studied. They spent probably billions of dollars on these questions, right? But these questions allowed me to ask them in order, keep on task. The Q12, you can find them right online.
Yeah, Google
go
them up,
through.
Yeah.
And that was my survey. So I took a survey, and then I started to identify all the gaps, and I created content, created a whole bunch of initiatives that a lot of the leaders tried to circumvent and stop. But cool thing is I had a bunch of leadership that were behind me, that stood behind me and let me do my job. And what was great was we turned it around. It's just really recognizing, you know, hey, what is holding you back from doing your job, and what is holding you back from being happy here? Because here's the thing. Here's some statistics, if you don't mind me sharing.
No, we want to.
All right.
You got job seekers listening.
90,000 hours, waking hours, unless you decide to sleep on the job, but 90,000 hours of your life.
I got
one third of your life is spent at work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So now here's another statistic. There are 8.9 million managers in the United States. There are 120,000 professional psychologists and psychiatrists.
Oh my God. We ain't getting it.
Yeah. There are 20,000 professional coaches. Now, the difference between a coach and a psychologist is a psychologist wants to find out what's wrong with you. A coach says and identifies what's good about you, and how can I draw out more. I would like to replace the 100.
That's good.
I would like I would like to take and replace the 120,000 psychologists out there with 8.9 million coaches.
Yes.
That the managers would become coaches and draw out the best in people, because the average person, job employee out there, they work 4 years now. The tenure is 4 years on average. Okay. The cost, here's another interesting statistic. The cost of replacing somebody is on average $6,500
Yeah.
to a company. So imagine I
Initially,
had,
yeah.
and now imagine I had 15 people who wanted to leave their job.
Mm-hmm.
That was, if you just take the math, that's almost $200,000 saved because they stayed in their place, right? And they
Right.
became happy.
Retention, yeah.
They contributed, and that's to me, that's important. Is we need more coaches, we need more managers. This is interesting. There's only 1.2 million good managers out of the 8.9, 1.2 million good managers that actually know how to work with the people. Okay. This is from Gallup. So Gallup stated that 5 out of 6 managers really don't know how to manage people. They know how to manage KPIs. They're good at their job.
Yeah.
They know how to manage their numbers, but they don't know how to manage their people. They don't know how to connect. And that's the biggest problem in America.
Dana and I being managers, and I'd like to say that we are that smile manager, that brings a smile to the face. But you know what? The corporate dynamic, a lot of times, guys, probably 90% of the time, does not give you especially now, I've got to think about what I'm saying, because I've worked for the gigantors. I've worked for IBM and Verizon and Citigroup and these big old companies. But I, being the way that I am, very people centric, guys, did not have the time to spend with individual employees that worked for me that I wanted to, in order to develop them. There's certain things that you can see along the way, how they handle the people that they're serving. Because my job and Dana's job before has been to go to the end managers, the end departments that were griping about something. Oh, we don't have our people, whatever it was. Dana and I have to go in there and form a solution. And we do that by building that relationship, and then the first thing I like to bring up is the fact that we're on the same team. Guys, I know you're feeling this way for a reason. Tell me why. We want to get in there, because I don't want to take too much time, and I've already done that with my stuff. But you know what? Dana and I learn about a position. They will get a position approved. The hiring managers will get a position approved. They will send us the job description. Then Dana and I will go and say, okay, what do you want to hire? I've got the paper. I've got the tangible stuff here. What kind of intangibles do you need on your team? What are you wanting to hire? And then we will send them exactly what they asked for, and oh no, that's we're missing the boat. This is not what I want. So Dana and I, a couple of weeks later, given the process, really at that point, it takes us that long just to find out really and truly what these hiring managers want to hire, because there's the intangible and there's a tangible part. So
or hard and soft skills.
Yeah. I'm gonna shut up because I can go on and on. Vin and I talked last night. We were going.
Yeah. And it's interesting. So here's a little piece of information, a tidbit. 85% of the American workers do not know their own strengths. Okay. That's really important. And when I say strengths, I'm talking about, there's a language out there through Gallup. Go to Gallup and look up Clifton Strengths. It's a personality assessment. Brandy Shade will talk about this. Brandy. So I'll tell you. I'll just give you my top 5. My top 5. Well, I'll give you my top 7. I'll give you 7.
Please.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
So my top strength is connectedness.
That's one of mine. Yep.
That's relationships, right? Building relationships. And then the next couple are input and learner. Okay. So input and learner are strategy, and then ideation is also strategy. So I'm I'm highly strategic. Communication is my next one. So obviously, I love to write, and I love to research, and I love to
Right.
ideate, and I love to connect with people.
Yeah, that makes
My
sense.
next one is, well, that's a communication is an influencing skill or strength.
Uh-huh.
Then I have strategy, and then
Ah,
I have woo. So strategy is that green, and so I'm very strategic. I
yeah.
can get from A to B very quickly, and then on top of that, it's coupled with woo. I love to win others over.
Woo's my
Right?
number one. Yeah.
Woo.
Yes.
And then connectivity is my number two.
Oh, nice,
Okay,
Yeah.
then
nice.
Foster, we didn't ask you what yours was. Vin was talking about that, so keep going.
Yeah. Well, this is really important
Gosh.
because if you know your strength, Peter Drucker said something really important. So Peter Drucker is a guru, and or was a business guru, and he said you can't do anything without knowing your strengths.
That's a good
If
point.
you don't know your strengths, and so 85% of American workers don't know their own strengths. I'll tell you what, I coach a lot of people, and I just coached my nephew. He's 25 years old, and my daughter told him to call me. I hadn't talked to him in over a year. He called me this week and he said, "Yeah, I've been wasting about 7 years of my life going from job to job to job. I don't know what to do." And so I had him take the Clifton Strengths, and I went through it, and he went, "Whoa." And he said, "That's surprising me because I really didn't know that about me." And I said, "Yeah, I know."
Oh,
I said, "Now you're in the top 15%, and now you can find direction, and you can go find the job that you want to do and that you're
hmm
passionate about, that you're good at."
hmm I've got a question, you guys, and
Yeah.
this is for Dana, and this is for Vin and Rex. If you're listening, you and Joel might want to chime in on this one. uh, in our management circles, the managers that we've had in our career, guys, have they been more supporters of our strengths, or has it been more of a focus on, oh, we need more of this, you're weak here, you need to strengthen here, so there's two things that Foster sees. One is an encouragement factor. One is a discouragement factor. Dana, you're not good enough. Oh my God, you need more of this, you need more of that. So in corporate America, in our corporate setting, in our experiences, what have you guys seen more of?
Yeah. For me personally, I feel like it's going to come down to the ratio we discussed earlier, because there's a higher ratio of people that have never really been mentored or learned how to manage people. Unfortunately, it's easier to point out deficiencies versus encouraging people on their strengths and then coaching them on their deficiencies. So I would say that unfortunately in corporate America, you're going to have a lot more of the negativity,
Yeah.
right? But those leaders that
Ah,
do recognize the strengths and coach to them, and then learn how to appropriately um, manage each individual's personality style, and work with them on their weaknesses, will probably have the stronger teams, less turnover, and better results.
That's
mm-hmm,
absolutely true.
mm-hmm.
So, I love to tell stories. So if you don't mind
Yeah,
me
bring
just
it on,
kind of,
bring it on,
all
Oh,
brother.
right.
please bring
Bring
it.
it on, brother.
So as a traveling culture strategist, I was in South Carolina last fall, and I had taken the team through the Clifton Strengths and coached them. And I had two particular managers. One was a manager over another manager, right? So there was a regional manager, and then there was an area manager. Now, the regional manager, when I took her through her strengths, she said, "Oh, empathy. My manager's been telling me to work on that for years."
Hmm.
And it was her number 34. It was at the bottom. And I said, "Girl, forget about that one."
And work on it.
I said, "You don't have it. It doesn't exist." I said, "That boulder is going to stay right where it's at. You
Oh,
will never get it up the hill." I said, "But what you
Ah,
bring is you have your top 5, and this is what's good about you." And she goes, "Oh, I've never heard that." So we had dinner one night, and her manager was there, and we were talking about the strengths, and I said, or he actually brought up her empathy, and I said, "Stop. And he said, "What?" I said, "Stop." And I knew his lowest strength, and I said, "So you need to change this." And his was focus. And
Oh, oh,
he said he said, "What?" I said, "Fix." I said, "Fix your focus, and then she'll move her empathy." And he goes, "That's
huh.
impossible." And he
Nah,
goes, "Oh man." He goes, "Oh man, that's crazy." So the reality is, um, if we focus on the good of the people, we encourage them. I'll tell you what, the turnaround. One more story, if you don't mind.
come on.
I had a gal who was a manager. She was about to be fired. Her numbers were really low, and she called me up and she asked me if I would help her, and I said I would. And I discovered her strengths, and then what I did is I asked her, her numbers, and she said, "Well, my occupancy is supposed to be 85%, and so this is in real estate." And she said, "But I'm at 59% and I'm ready to be fired." And
Oh no.
but
Okay.
I learned her competency. I understood her abilities. And then I
Right.
coached her one time. She called me back a month later. Kid you not. She called me a month later. She said, "I went from 59% to 90%."
What will give us an example? What did you
So,
how did you coach her?
well, I asked her to look at what her controllables were and what her uncontrollables were, give her uncontrollables back to the manager and control what you can
Uh-huh.
control,
Okay.
and stop taking responsibility for the things that you can't control and focus on the things that you can. And she
Well, I
did
like it.
that,
Yeah.
and it was a month,
Wow.
and it was a month later, boom. And you know what? Her manager and her VP wanted to fire her, and I went in and said, "Don't." And then they didn't, and it turns out her manager, less than 2 months later, ended up being let go.
Uh-huh. 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 Joel. Now,
Wow.
Mhm.
Joel said something that oh my goodness, it tripped my talker here. So, Joel, thank you very
Uh-oh.
much. And guys, I want to say Joel Fry is probably the most exemplary networker that we've had in this network. And this network is 25 years old. Oh my God. So, thanks, Joel. Joel made a comment that says, "Hey, the bosses," and she put her exclamation points around the bosses, focus a lot on the metrics, guys.
Mhm.
And a leader, and I've said this on this show tons of time, a leader is different. A leader is going to be that person that's going to lift you up with your strengths and make you want to continue your job. And you know what? Uh, that, that's what's going. Employee retention companies, come on, son. Now let's go and let's tell Dana. Dana, look, I see you did this here. I see you shared this with me. Let's see if we can't implement it there. Why can't we in management, guys? Why can't we look at the strengths that we have? What did you hire Dana for? And then Mez said earlier, stop trying to change the person that you hired.
Right,
So,
Yep,
what
that's a
you
good
hiring
point. Yeah.
for? Come on,
right,
come on, son.
right.
Okay, I'll shut up. I see y'all
Think
get me
think
going.
think about it this way. Um, we all love Michael Jordan, right? I
Oh yeah,
mean, even though he played for the Bulls,
Ah,
we love Michael,
don't hate on Chicago.
but we all love Michael Jordan because he's just phenomenal, right?
yeah.
But what did he do after basketball? He went to play baseball and he went to play golf. Was he
Yeah.
as good at baseball or golf?
No.
No,
No.
Ah,
right? So, why would we put someone in a position in which they're probably pretty weak, or have them do something that they may not be good at? They might find somebody who's actually better in certain things, and put that other person in a role in which they will succeed and they'll have big wins,
Right.
right?
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Corey, you managers out there, guys, when you're interviewing with a manager, ask that manager, "Hey, Mr. Manager, who on your team? You don't have to tell me names and stuff. Who on your team do you admire? Who gets the job done around here, and why?" Now, my dad told me this.
That's a good
Thank you,
question.
Dad. So, guys, it's not what a lot of times what they say, but how they say it. Look at their
Mhm,
face. The Bible says you will know them from their countenance. Now,
mhm.
when
Amen.
you know what, when somebody's trying to lead you down, they're trying to tell you something they think you want to hear. You're probably not got the eye contact, other things that are going on. But guys, it's important what they say, but how they say it is more important.
That's right. That's right. You know,
100% agree.
it's funny because I have found that a lot of managers don't want to take the time. They have their pets, they have their favorites,
Uh-huh.
and they'll invest into those. And I'm not saying all managers, okay?
Right,
Um,
right.
the managers that really know how to invest into their people and really draw out, I say they strategically pull out the magic, right, within
Yes.
that person, and they help them help them define themselves and make their mark. And really, the role of a manager in all leaders really is to raise up other leaders. So you asked me at the earlier part of the hour, uh, where did you start? And it was my goal was never to be the leader. My goal was to be the one to raise up
To raise up.
leaders and to recognize the ability to recognize. And I was sitting at a dinner party the other night, and one guy asked me, he said, "How do you know who has what? And how do you know like that one woman was failing? How did you know that she was capable?" And I said, "Because I had a conversation with her and I asked her questions."
Ah.
And you know what? Her VP and her manager didn't do that. They only wanted to
Mm,
beat her up for what she was doing wrong rather than find out what
mm,
she was capable of doing.
right.
Yeah.
Kathy Kostenbader, I love you. You are a leader. I like to bring up Kathy because Kathy was my boss at Verizon. And we weren't Verizon when I first got the job. We were GTE. A lot of you guys will remember GTE. But
I remember
yeah,
GTE.
we married Bell Atlantic and became Verizon. And Kathy was absolutely instrumental
Mm,
in the way that we handle and how she took my skills and assigned certain things to me across the United States, actually across North, Central, and South America.
yeah.
So
That's
I love
great.
my job. I had a good time. So, guys, there is a difference. Keep this in mind. There is a difference between a boss and a leader. Now, when you're interviewing
Yeah.
for these positions, keep that in the back of your mind. See what you're dealing with in your own brain. See if you know whatever questions you ask. See what you discern from that conversation.
Yeah. Can I share a quote here? I think this is
Absolutely.
a, fan,
Please,
a fantastic
yes.
quote. A gentleman named Griffin stated, he said, organizational culture is designed, evaluated, debugged, and iterated on like any software product released. Think about that. We
Read that
as
again.
Wow.
Read it again one more time
Wow.
because that's good. That's real good.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely read that one
yeah.
again.
Organizational culture is designed, evaluated, debugged, and iterated on like any software product released.
Mm,
Now,
mm,
my
mm.
fiance is a programmer, and
I'm sorry.
we talk nerd all the time.
Yeah.
And she talks about the testing process, always putting it through the testing process,
Ah.
right? And that's the way culture should be. CEOs, CFOs, CIOs, COOs, CMOs, whoever you are, VPs, managers, and even the people, the support staff. If you all are looking at culture as the number one feature and benefit of your company,
Hmm.
you're going to treat each other well. You're going to treat each other well because you want to do life together. 43 years of misery is 43 years of misery.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It does things to you. Yeah. Hey,
I
Vin,
Yeah,
look
yeah,
at Mez's. I love Mez's question. I wish I thought of this question earlier. She said, "But how do you feel about HR only being there to protect the company?" Because obviously HR can have an impact in a whole lot more. I'm going to bring Barbie Winterbottom on the show. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think that HR plays an important role. I mean, right, they do some pretty significant things. They're there to find the talent, to recruit them, right? They're the first gatekeeper to interview or to go through the process of looking at their resume, and so they're the gatekeeper, and then they interview, and then they introduce them to the manager. But they're really there to, and in fact, I would say that they're there not only to protect the company, but they are there to protect the people, to help facilitate the relationship.
Mm-hmm. A
They
good
are the
HR
neutral.
department.
They're a neutral.
I
I'm
was
sorry.
part
They're
of it.
yeah,
Go,
go
go, go,
ahead.
go, go, go. Keep
Oh, I'm
going.
sorry. they're
Keep going.
they're the facilitator. They're the ones who make the marriage, come together. Right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
They're the
Now, I was
matchmaker.
part of HR. Now,
Yeah.
a good HR department, guys. Now, companies, listen to this. As you're developing your HR department, there'll be different components of your HR department to handle different jobs. I love the HR business partners because they go through and make sure that the initiatives that we've decided in meetings get done. And they set up processes and things like that. But HR, we look at HR as a negative a lot of times because we just focus on that one area that's lacking, and we need to stop that, y'all. An
Yeah.
HR department
Yeah.
is many facets.
Yeah.
It is, and I want to say that I think HR's come a long
Yeah.
way, and
Yeah.
it's transformed tremendously. And again, it goes back to the type of culture and organization. The majority of companies I've worked for recently, the HR team was definitely instrumental in supporting both the employees and the company. And I think that there's a lot of laws and a lot of compliance that has to take place to protect both.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which has helped transform the function to be more centric versus specific on just supporting the company. Now it's a little bit more mutual, but there are always going to be those organizations out there that maybe aren't set up that way yet, right?
Yeah. So, to just kind of iterate a little bit on Mez's question, the reality is that I have met HR directors who they do the compliance, but
Uh-oh.
they also care about the people because they know the people are the backbone of
Backbone.
the community, right?
I hate to cut us off, guys, but that is our time. We are on our way to get barbecue.
Yes. Thank you, Vin.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you.
Joel.
It's
Good
great
to see you.
time. See you next week.
Wonderful.
Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing
Sorry, I didn't mean
process.
The most important
to
qualities
hijack.
was a publisher who was honest and upfront. No hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812.
Here's important new information from the Diabetes Solution Center for you, a family member, or a loved one suffering with diabetes. If you have lost your provider, or if you need a provider for diabetic supplies, you may qualify to receive your diabetic testing supplies now with little or no out-of-pocket cost, regardless of your age. All you need is Medicare or private insurance to be potentially eligible. Call the Diabetes Solution Center right now for details. Just takes a couple of minutes.